In this video, we're going to learn how to graph a quadratic function written in vertex form. From the last lesson, we learned how to graph a quadratic function if it's just a basic y equals x squared, and we look at the pattern of squares. So our vertex is going to be at 0, 0, and then we're going to move from there. If we move one space to the right, we're going to move the square of that up. So we're going to move 1 up. Then we go back to the vertex. If we move 2 to the right, we're going to move up the square of that, so we're going to move up 4. And similarly with 3, we're going to move up 9. All parabolas are symmetrical, so we do the exact same thing, moving in the negative direction. So all quadratic functions are going to follow that same basic pattern of squares, where if we have 0, we're going to move 0. If we move over 1, we're going to go up 1. If we move over 2, we're going to go up 4. If we move over 3, we're going to go up 9. And this pattern we can call the pattern of squares. Now, if we add to our equation, and we add a plus 4, so now we have y equals x squared plus 4. What this is going to do is it is going to shift the parabola along the y-axis, and it's going to move it 4 in the positive direction. So instead of our vertex being at 0, 0, our new vertex is going to be at 0, 4. But we're still going to follow the pattern of squares. So from that vertex, over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, and then if we wanted to, we could go over 3 up 9, but that will be off our graph. And we do the same thing moving in the other direction. So we can draw our parabola. So you'll see the number after the x squared is going to shift the parabola along the y-axis, either in a positive direction or in a negative direction. If we have a number that is inside the brackets with the squared, so it belongs to the x, that is going to shift our parabola along the x-axis. Now, because it's in the squared, this minus 4, our parabola is actually going to shift 4 in the positive direction. So it's going to move to the point 4, 0. But the pattern remains the same, over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9. Same thing in the negative direction. The only difference in the shape of our graph is its starting point. So within that bracket, this minus 4 moves our parabola 4 in the positive direction along the x-axis. Similarly, if I've got a plus 4, it's going to move 4 in the negative direction. But the shape of the graph always remains the same, over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9. It follows our pattern of squares. So there's the shape of our parabola. So putting the two together, if I have a plus 3 with my x squared, that means I'm going to move 3 in the negative direction along the x-axis. The negative 2 following the x squared term tells me that I'm going to move down 2, and that's going to be the starting point of my vertex. The pattern of squares follows from that vertex, over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9, and same thing on to the other side. So we can graph our function. In general, this is what the function is going to look like. We've got y equals, and then x minus p squared plus q. The value of p is going to be our translation on the x-axis. And notice, because it's minus p, that means it's actually going to be in the opposite direction. Our plus q is, of course, the translation on the y-axis.